Hello everyone, welcome back to J Jen's YouTube channel. My name and podcast soon to be. My name is Natalie. This is the first time you're joining us, and today I have this lovely guest with us called Malin Bray, who is based in Costa Rica. I've met you. I think it might have been a yoga class that I asked how I encountered you. I also remember you at an exciting.
Oh, that's right.
You have a past as a DJ. I don't know if you do it anymore, but you were like very good at it.
Yes, once in a while I hop back in there and we'll DJ a party or an ecstatic dance or something. But yes, I have a before my yoga days, I was DJing in New York.
Yeah, so we're very curious about that. So I start there, like a introduction about yourself. You're a yoga teacher. You host retreats, photographer. You have a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, just give us an intro to yourself and what
Okay.
how you found living in the jungle in the first place.
Amazing. Well, hello everyone. I'm super happy to be here. So yes, my name is Malin and I have been living in Santa Teresa, Costa Rica. I think it's almost 4 years.
Wow.
I was in New York before here in a slowly kind of like I started much more in like New York party scene, DJ, all of that really, like fast kind of paced energy. And towards my last few years in New York, I did my yoga teacher training and started, kind of shifting into I guess a different lifestyle, different perspective, still DJing a bit, but moving into, I don't know, just a more grounded energy. And then pandemic happened and I was like, you know what? I think it's time to get out of here. And I just like felt the call to leave. It was like such a spur of the moment decision. I think in a matter of 8 hours, I had my room rented out, left all of my furniture, told my roommates you can have everything. There was like a few nice pieces of art that I called friends. I was like, if you want it, come and get it. And the next day I packed up a rental SUV and I drove back to North Carolina. And I spent all the pandemic there, like on the beach with my mom, surfing, chilling. I know pandemic was probably challenging for a lot of people, but for me it was pretty epic.
Yeah.
And so I was just there kind of like virtually teaching yoga. None of the studios were open, so it was pretty quiet. And then as soon as kind of the restrictions were lifted, I came to visit a friend in Costa Rica and I fell in love with it here.
Yeah.
And met a boy, of course, as every travel story goes. And so moved down here, and I think I was down here like a month or so, and we split. We went through many splits, and we're very good friends now.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh my God, what have I done? I was super like a little lost in paradise, and I was teaching yoga. I didn't have a ton of friends yet here, and I'd met a couple girls from my yoga studio. And I was like, hey, look, I'm going a little crazy down here. Do you mind? Like, can we make a fun creative project? Do some art. I need to keep my mind busy. And I had like a camera I brought down with me. And so I took pictures of one of the girls. And from the moment I posted that picture, someone messaged me to hire me. And I was like, oh, what?
Wow.
Yeah. And it kind of just snowballed from that. And I always knew I liked photography a bit, but it was nothing I ever even considered being like a path or a profession or anything. So it was kind of like born from a really like deep place and like a lot of heartbreak and a lot of something, and it just kind of like alchemized and went into this like beautiful place, and I love it. And I've realized like my heart really is like with photographing women, with their offerings, with like connecting them to their sensuality, like embodying their feminine. And that is like I love it. And it's been a dream. I've met so many amazing women. This is now like a big part of like what I offer to the world.
Yeah.
I still teach yoga, which I still love as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the first retreat I'm ever doing will be this year.
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, this will be my first one.
Right?
What's up? In July,
In July, yeah.
Yeah, I've been kind of like dreaming up what that would look like for a few years, and it's been like picking at me a little bit, like, hey, you know, like, how do you want to share this? What do you want to do? And finally, late last year, it kind of like formulated. um, and I partnered up with a good friend of mine who is an amazing chef, and she offers also beautiful workshops and things. And yeah, brought it down to earth. And this will be like our first, I'm not like entirely sure how it's going to go, but I think that's part of the magic, you know, just like get all these amazing creative women together, put us in a house, make a ton of amazing photo shoots, go through some like workshops, mushies, all the things, you know, just get to the heart of things. Juice, yeah, squeeze the juice. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in life in this moment, just kind of trying to bring all these creative expressions to life and learning a lot in the process.
Yeah, and I know that I've just seen a bit about the retreat. It's specifically about for like creatives and people who are within the creative space, or
I mean, of course, it's amazing if you're already in a creative space, you know, like this will be a space to kind of like expand and do those. But I also really want to call in women who maybe are in a completely different space. And it's like, you feel that like subtle pull of like, oh, I want something different, or like, how can I make this art, or like, how does she have that life, or how, you know, and to like invite into a space of like, it's actually like, you know, of course, everything is a challenge, but if you just step out of your way for a second, like we all have those amazing expressions inside us. And especially if you're super drawn to something and it calls to you, like, so I want it also to be a moment, like you don't even need a professional camera, you know, just like come down here. Like, of course, I'll be taking lots of photos. We'll have professional content creators, but like to come down and play. Yeah. And for people who are already doing it, like, this is not for work. It's not a job. It's just a moment for no pressure to just experiment, float, all of the things. So, and even for me, I'm like, I would really like, I would like a week of this.
Yeah, me too. I'm like,
if you want to come, I will for sure make space for you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Because it's like, is it a week, or for how long is it?
So it's going to be a week, and we got like this amazing villa on the beach in Malpais. So it's huge pool. And so I think I want to start off with just kind of like inviting everyone into the dark. Like we'll start with sound, and like either you can go heavy mushy or mushy microdose, and then like sifting through all of our things and just kind of like clear. Yeah. And then from that space, starting to like open, expand, create, play. I've got 2 really like epic photo shoots with models coming that are going to be like really fun for everyone to like play. Yeah. And then I have a couple amazing shoots where we'll all shoot each other. We'll learn like, I think there's like I've noticed like a big skill that I've learned is just like relating with people in a photo shoot, like learning how to like build that trust, open that space. And it's really helped me in a lot of other places in my life with how I relate, how I work. So learning like those skills, learning to be seen, making peace with our bodies. Yeah. So it's going to be really fun. I'm super excited. And then Taylor's like the adaptogenic queen of like magical food journeys. So she's going to be like weaving in like all of this like food nourish magic through the whole week and beach dinners. And then I'm going to have I love surfing also. So I was like, well, you know, I love surfing. I'm out there on a board. We'll see one day when I'm really good, but I enjoy it. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to have some surf, yoga every day. Just like a really fun week.
Sounds like a dream. Yeah. And also I find that the jungle in itself really helps the like stoking the creativity, and like
it really does.
Nature, you're just like, it's like your creative juices are just flowing.
Yeah. The backdrop here, like to any art form is so stunning that you're like, how can this not be so epic? You just literally stand there in front of it and you're like, wow, perfect,
Yeah.
amazing.
It's so inspiring. Like when you're surrounded by something, it's like it really sparks something, I find, so that it really helps. Like if you feel
Yeah,
a bit blocked or stuck, that just coming to the retreat
it
and just
comes out. Yeah,
you'll just be like, oh right, like the colors.
amazing. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, the moment like you sit in the tide pool and like someone puts a camera, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, actually, great. Like I am a sensual mermaid, and you know, all of those energies are super easy to tap into in that kind of place.
That's so true. But it's so cool to hear with photography how all get unfolded. Like I imagine that you'd been at like some photography school for 3 years. Very obviously very talented. Like
YouTube University.
wow, that's the good thing about this day and age. Learn anything off you.
Yeah. Yeah, everything is kind of like self-taught. And I think like a lot of people get in their own way of like, oh, I need like this fancy equipment. I need all of these things to do that. And really like just trust yourself, trust your eye. And it's so much more simple. I didn't even know what half the I still don't know what half the buttons mean. Like, no, I've learned a lot more in the process. But you know, you just get out there and make something and continue to make it and continue to make it. And some things, you know, you throw away, some things you don't. But if you just like immerse yourself in the process of creating, magic happens. That's all you have to do is just like open yourself up to the opportunity and stop judging.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Because I think a lot of us, as you say, and also if we're striving like perfection or something being something that we're like in our mind, and then we're like when it doesn't turn out that well, we're like they're not any good at all. But if somebody did it, they'd be like, that's amazing. It's just that you build up all these stuff in your head that might disrupt good art.
It does, yeah. I feel like we are often really in our own way. You know, like we have so many judgments of like, oh, it's got to be this. And we look at other people making other things. Sorry, I'm a little congested. We look at other people making other things. And yeah, we start judging, and those like little subtle judgment energies like leak in, and then they start like kind of tainting. And it's ultimately just about play. Yeah. I mean, I know we're like stuck in this kind of capitalist world and all of these things, but I really think like ultimately our whole intention was just to come on earth, eat fruit, enjoy life, you know. All of a sudden someone was like, oh, jobs, taxes, show up here. But if we just allow that pure form of play to come out and express, then everything is magic.
I love that. And like I think, as you said, that one of your skills is that you facilitate a safe space for women in front of the camera. They feel validated, and they can be more in their embodiment and really take up place and space within themselves. And I guess maybe also because you know how to facilitate a safe space, so that
I think definitely teaching yoga has been a huge part of like what has helped me kind of like hold space, understand, you know, like what feels comfortable, what doesn't. And that's like a big part of, you know, someone's coming, and a lot of like the women I work with have never really been in front of a camera and, you know, don't often tap into that like really sensual feminine energy. You know, they don't often feel like they look in the mirror and like, wow, I'm so beautiful, so sexy. And so it's a really like delicate and beautiful process to like watch that shell slowly kind of like drift away and unfold. And like a lot of them are like, oh my God, like how did you do that with the camera? And I'm like, there's nothing on it. That's just you sitting on the beach. Yeah. And, you know, like energetics is such a potent thing when you really understand what you're looking for, or understand like the difference of this energy, that energy. And it's kind of like a muscle, you know, like you can do one pull-up maybe, but then you teach yourself to do a few more and you feel it and you're like, oh, that's what it feels like. Okay. You know, energetics, embodiment, all of that is the same. It's a practice. You know, like we start learning how it feels to be comfortable, and we go there a little bit, and then we're like, oh, okay, then we go a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice journey.
Yeah, it's like an unfolding process. And I guess like it's like mirror work. The camera kind of becomes the mirror work in one way.
Yeah.
It's a very empowering thing to see yourself and allow yourself to feel beautiful, allow yourself to see that, and to be, because everyone are also so unique in their beauty. Like the most beautiful is the individuality, I find. It's really beautiful that you can kind of bring that out of people that aren't even like on camera, that into that individuality and kind of reclamation of yourself.
Yes, for sure. I always think like the camera is a portal. It's like a strange thing. In like no other situation could, like, if I was doing a photo shoot with you, you know, like if I was just sitting there in front of you, staring at you and like, you know, moving around with you, like you would never be able to access those energies. But the moment I put this little like light reflecting apparatus in between us, it creates like a safety of like being seen, but I guess not fully like, not so aggressively seen. And it's like this little buffer that allows something. And I'm always like, what is this little magical device that I set in between us? And all of a sudden this happens.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a portal in a way.
Yeah. And that's like, when you think about a camera in itself, it's quite a magical device. It's capturing like split moments in the time and space continuum.
It's
that
really
never
crazy.
come back. It's trippy.
Yeah. I think about that a lot. I can't remember quite what the setting is, but it's like, what a strange job like a photographer is. It's kind of like this person who holds like a moment in time forever.
Yeah. Wow. No, it's really fascinating. I find that when it comes to also like having pictures of yourself, to see a picture of yourself over time as well in different stages of your life, it's a very powerful tool. Like, you got a photo of yourself when you were younger, you can instantly like connect with your inner child, your friends, or your kind of spirit that was very pure in some way. So
for sure.
Now that you're saying it, it is a very magical tool, really.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. I've like tried to read and understand like really how they work, you know, and I know there's of course science and everything behind it, but I'm still just like, this blows my mind.
Yeah.
You know, like even phones, just us, like how are we talking? It's crazy to me still. Yeah.
No, it's a bit, when you start to think about these things too long, even it's the same thinking about space too long, in the end you're just like, whoa.
Whoa, what is this? Yes.
Well, I'm curious to hear in general, when it comes to like yoga and spirituality, like what are your big teachings or insights from being on that path for the past like 5 years?
I'll say it was like really subtle, the changes that happened in my life. I remember I went into my yoga teacher training. I was still, you know, DJing. Had shifted a lot out of like the party lifestyle and things like that, but I was really searching for something, and I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. A change in my life, a change in my soul. I don't know. I was just really needing something, and I just randomly was, you know, I was like, I'm going to do a teacher training, and I had plans to, you know, go travel somewhere really exotic and do it, and it just wasn't happening with work. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go. Here's one in New York. It happens next week. I'm going to get in there. Yeah. And it ended up being one of the most like I hadn't even practiced at that studio. And the teacher that led it was like an Olympic yogi. I didn't even realize that was a thing. the style of yoga spoke so much to my soul that
Wow.
it was just the most aligned place I've ever been. And that was really the pinpoint moment where my life diverged, was
Wow.
the moment I walked through those doors. And I
Yeah.
didn't even realize it, but 2 years later, I looked around at my life and it was completely different. Like,
Wow.
the way I felt, the way I relate, where I live, what my job is, everything was different.
Mm.
And I wouldn't have been able to, I don't think, come to Costa Rica if I didn't have that kind of skill set to be able to come here and like have a way to make money, have a way to share, things like that. It immediately like put me right into the community, right into an energy flow.
Yeah.
And I will say, yeah, that was the moment that it really shifted for me. And I have, I'm sure everyone has their own relationship with spirit, creator, God, whatever you want to call it. I've always felt super connected to, like an unseen force of magic or energy or something. And yeah, I think through yoga, it really moved some energies in my body physically that allowed me to I guess, I don't know, find a place of like peace or trust or something. And I'm not, like all love and light. There's still a lot of things in here.
Yeah, that's
but that's the human experience, But yeah, the teacher training, I would recommend it to anyone, no matter if you want to teach or not, just like hop into that practice.
What's called, if anyone's listening?
Yes, it was called Lighthouse Yoga School. They used to have a brick and mortar studio in Brooklyn, but when pandemic happened, they closed it. But now they do trainings all over the world. And look him up. Jared McCann was who I did my training with, and he is phenomenal. So he does training still all over the world. You can hop into any of them. I really love his. And there's one other training I would really recommend. It's with Yoga Salt Tamal Dodge. His trainings, he's a phenomenal teacher also. So any of those you should.
Can put them below in the show notes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I'll send you links for both of them. So anyone can find their trainings.
Amazing. Yeah, I really resonate with that. That's the thing about yoga over time, that it's subtle changes. You look back, you're like, whoa, everything is I'm different. What's going on,
Yeah, it is wild. Just even like you look at how your body moves in your first few practices. And like I look back and I was just like kind of so unsure and not clear. And I don't know, I feel like this is a bit loaded to say, but like not as awake,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, you look back years after, fast forward and your body's moving in such like a different way. You feel super present in like the way you practice. I don't know. It's really crazy. Wild.
It's like a transformation, like in the physical, of course, but also in your relationship with yourself and how you value yourself and how you interact with others and how it's on so many planes that it
really is.
That it only is a physical practice, but then it's not only a physical.
It's full spectrum. It's really just so wild. Right.
And nowadays, I know when I've been taking your classes, you do kind of a flow class, like vinyasa flow a lot. Are you still doing those, or has your own?
Yeah, I really
evolved?
I still teach. I teach like 4 to 5 times a week, sometimes a little more, depending on the week. Yeah. Still at the same studio, Horizon, which I love. It's like my second home.
Needs to go.
We'll link that also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love like a super strong vinyasa. I love Ashtanga yoga as well, but it's a little bit rigid for me. I kind of need, like, for myself, I need to move around, switch it up.
intuitive, yeah.
Yeah, and I always make up the classes on the fly. I just kind of I look around and I'm like, what do I see? This person's moving like their hips are tight. This person keeps touching their neck, so we'll get into that.
Yeah.
And because I was a DJ in the past, music is also a really important part of my classes, and I really love curating the playlists and the energy, and then even I'll switch it up like halfway through. I'm like, oh, I need to hit them with like this whale piano song. Cue the whale noises. Yeah, and so that's also a really fun part of creating that. I feel like music is a huge catalyst for also allowing people to drop into presence and just turn off the brain, and you kind of feel the beat and you move, and it allows for I think a deeper experience.
I agree. And music and vibration, that's like a universal language itself.
True.
Our like cells connect with.
Yeah, true.
I remember when you were subbing, like, or you did the bar classes, like the yoga bar classes.
I was doing bar for a bit.
I loved them. I was so, it was right up my alley. And as you said, you would put on some really fun like beats and switch it up. Very dynamic, and it was quite an intense workout. But then you would in the middle of it, a downward facing dog and really stretched out. And classes.
Yeah, I love, like, I grew up taking ballet and doing that, so I love like dance aspects to things. I love Pilates. So I kind of just throw everything into a melting pot and see where it takes us in the class.
I love it. It's nice to just improvise as well. There's something very freeing about that. Like rigidity, I find that for me, when it comes to yoga, I really like more of a feminine approach to it. I like then want to improvise and feel how it feels and what your body wants to do next.
For sure. I think you need that. For me, at least, I need that constant change, that constant, even in a yoga class, I don't like repeating the same sequence too many times. Because I'm like, all right, we've done it twice. Like, move it on. Let's go. So for me, I don't know if it's like, what did they call it? Like ADD or something. I don't know if that's part of it, but I constantly need change or something to stay engaged, to stay focused.
No, I resonate with that totally. I remember when I was in yoga teacher training in India, they were like, so what are you going to teach in the exam? And we'd been doing so much. It was like a multi-style training. So it was like Ashtanga Vinyasa, Vinyasa, Hatha, all the styles. I was like, teaching my intuitive flow.
Yeah, exactly.
That was I was like, that's
we will be going where the wind blows today, my friends. But that's also the magic of the feminine. Like, we are like energetic weavers. We are, like, that's like the feminine is fluidity. It's, those kinds of things. So I think like, bringing, like, trusting yourself to guide and move in a way that feels good for you. My ex years ago was a yoga teacher, and he's the one who introduced me to yoga being more than just like this kind of boring workout. I'd never experienced yoga like the way he taught it or the way he shared. And it really like lit me up and was and really attracted to me, like, to this path. And I remember when I was first starting to teach, I was really scared and nervous and things. And he said to me, he's like, like, you're not sharing something bad. He's like, you're sharing something from the heart. You're sharing something that you love. So he's like, no matter what, it will be received. And I was like, that was such like potent advice. And I always keep it with me of like any of my sharings. If I feel nervous to DJ, if I feel nervous for a photo shoot, I just remember like, these are my offerings from my heart. I'm not like out here dealing out drugs to people, like.
You're just trying to share some good energy in this world.
Yeah. So it will. Sorry, there's a big truck. So it will be received, and the people that it doesn't resonate with, that's okay. It's not their medicine. And there'll be people that it does, and it's all perfect.
I love that. I would like to hear more about like your photography style as well is very oriented towards femininity and sensuality. And like, what are your thoughts or reflections? What have you gathered within those like themes so far in your human journey? Like, yeah, anything that comes to mind?
As far as, so for me, I really noticed I was like gravitating to feminine expression. That's like really where, you know, of course I love working with brands and things, and I always meet amazing people. I've been so fortunate that like all of the brands and work like that contacts me are most of the time run by amazing women.
Yeah.
And, you know, like really cool companies doing really cool things. I'll tell you a fun story in a second. I got off on a little tangent. But I really love, yeah, that connecting women to that energy, this like beautiful feminine expression. And I didn't even realize kind of where this path was taking me, that it would become even like more of like a therapeutic thing for a lot of women, that this is like a
Healing.
a really, you know, some women who have really gone through some very intense things in their life, and it was the first time that they're, you know, showing parts of their body, you know, it's you know, like a really kind of like sacred space and honor to walk along someone just in those like really vulnerable moments. And so that's been something that I wasn't even really prepared for or expecting. That's been a huge, I don't know, gift, and also learning for me.
Yeah.
You know, in like really subtle ways of how to hold space for people in a million different capacities.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. And that thing, I guess, with the as you said, the feminine expression, that it's something that might have been a bit muted in the past and still is in many ways. And you're providing a platform for women to find their voice, not only their voice, and their physical expression in the world.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, we're in the physical world. Like, want to transcend or other dimensions. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we have this beautiful gift of our feminine body. So, yeah.
I think someone that I recently had a photo session with, she reflected something really beautiful to me, and she's like, I love your work. Of you know, of course it's like super sexy and beautiful and all of these things, and you would think it's for the male gaze. But she's like, it's not. It's for females. Like, and that's honestly like, of course I have a few guys that follow me here and there, but it's just like constantly women, 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 women. And it's like, you know, I'm always like, you know, like follow back, trying to like build this like amazing dynamic and community. And I'm like, wow, how special is it that all these like, you know, I look at their pages and I'm like, wow, she's so cool. She's so cool. She's amazing. Yeah. Look what she's doing. And yes, it's just, there's a really big magic. I actually gifted myself a few photo shoots this season, and I was made an intention. I was like, I need some evidence that I've lived in Costa Rica and been here.
Yeah, I saw something, and it was, I reflected because I was like, wow, I haven't really been Malin in before, but it was like, wow, what a woman. Like, it was so nice to finally see you as well.
Yeah, it was nice to see me too.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It had been a moment, and I was like, you know, I'm needing again to tap into this energy. And it was so, there's something like really potent about seeing yourself in that light and feeling beautiful and feeling connected. And you're like, okay, there she is. Like, anything I'm dealing with in my life, keep it moving, you know? It's empowering. You know, and I don't, it seems like such a silly thing. You're like, oh, a photo, how can it feel like that? But it's, I don't know, it's kind of like a bit to connect with your highest expression. You're like, here's me feeling like so beautiful, so connected, so alive, and then I can look at it, and I can look at it like a mantra, and, you know, see it and hold this energy in myself.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. And I mean, I was also someone that was very kind of shy and I didn't want to be in photos. And I think that's kind of a bit of a sign that you should try it, because
that's
then
exactly
you have a lot to transform.
All of those places like where we resist the most or feel a little scared, like that's the edge, like go to the other side.
Oh, that's so beautiful. But you said before you had some fun story. I don't know if it was related to a brand.
Oh, it was. So I got to work with this brand recently that was so fun. Years ago, I had seen like a cool, like a local DJ. Maybe it wasn't years ago, but a DJ performed in the grocery store here.
Oh,
And I was like, wow. Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like La Pochi or La Pocha? She performed in the grocery store, and I was like, that is so cool. Like, I love this whole vibe, the aesthetic. And I was like, I really want to do a shoot in a grocery store. And I just kind of thought about it and filed it away. And a brand called Mary and Jane came here, and one of their owners, Rachel, so cool. She was like, I want to do a shoot in the Hermosa grocery store. And I was like, what? Amazing. So we got to take like some really cool women in the grocery store and did kind of like a renegade shoot early in the morning. The guy was like, I don't know if this is okay, but I think it's fine. And we're like, okay, yeah. And here we are, like Flash, assistant, crazy outfits. And so that was really fun. So, on the other side of like this embodiment work and things like that, I get to also just play and
be creative.
It's really beautiful to like be aligned with, like plant a seed. I want a grocery store shoot, and then here it comes a year down the road.
No, that's how magical life can be, when it just comes in. You don't even, there's no effort involved. It just comes to you.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. And I have released the photos from the shoot yet? Or
yeah, I have a few of them up there. They're on
check it out.
Yeah, go dig. I have a few. I haven't released all of them. And then I don't know, do you remember the guy in the truck that does the orange juice on the main road?
Yeah.
I was like, let's go shoot there too. So we brought like one of the models in like her cool bathing suit and outfit, and we did a shoot with him like making orange juice.
Oh wow.
And the guy was laughing at us. He thought we were so funny.
Oh, that's so funny to also involve like the
because I don't know, it's like there's like such a romance about here that's simple, like just the orange juice on the side of the street and like barefoot in the grocery store, and
wow.
I really like it.
Yeah, because I think like back to your page. I mean, now I think the first time into your class must have been in the beginning of 2021. Crazy that it's 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's been about 4 years. Yeah,
insane. But I remember that I loved your class, and I liked everything. And I remember finding your Instagram page and being like, wow, but there's so much else within this being. Like she has this cool, like photography style, and like you have a very unique style as well. Like aesthetic, you have like a very cool niche, because it's like nature and the female body, and the like it's a bit mysterious as well.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
And I really understand why because I, as a woman, your work, because I think it reminds me of feminine expression, and I really appreciate your work.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's like a beautiful reflection, because that's who I'm trying to speak to, and I think like we all connect to it because we all have it. We all, like are really all desiring to feel that energy all the time and to embody that energy and to see that, I think also me too, in my photos, I'm like, I'm wanting that energy. I want to be that,
It's like reminding us of our essence in some way, or
yeah. And I think in our worlds, like it gets a little bit, like suffocated in times. We live in a very masculine society, and like schedules and moving and it doesn't really honor like a woman's cycle, our rhythms, things like that. So I think all of us are a little bit like wanting it, really needing to connect with that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think that like in one way, how you do one thing, how you do everything, right? So, like
beautiful.
finding new ways of being in some way. I mean, both of us have a past with more city life and more a higher temper.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for me, yoga's very liberating in that way, more of a way of being, that the feeling, and how do I want to move the world? How do I want to feel the world? And how can I be more in my body and not so much in my mind? And I think that's related to a more feminine lifestyle as well.
Yes, for sure. Wow.
Also, living in the nature, I think, helps, because you just get so reminded, like, local being, and you're like part of nature.
It's hard not to like be super present here, because you know, like the city life, there's so much movement and you've got to do so many things, and then sometimes here it's like, oh, okay, there's no electricity. We're gonna read by candlelight tonight if you haven't charged your phone. Like,
Yeah,
you know, sometimes like there's a car stuck in the road and you're like, okay, well, it's one road, I guess I'm not going anywhere. You know, like go to the beach instead, you know.
No, it's, what would you say? I guess there can be people listening to it that maybe yearn for the kind of life that you're living, and more connection to nature in general. And what would you say, like, are your biggest, first of all, teachers living this lifestyle? What insights have landed for you? And also, how could you recommend for others who want to maybe go more towards that way?
I mean, I would say if you're feeling that call, you know, everything in life is going to be scary. Change is always going to be scary. You know, like make that intention, you know, if you want to live in a place where you're more connected to nature, you know, make the intention, set it. And then, you know, if it's money, if it's a job, if it's little things, you know, like you put that goal, you save for it, you reach out to other people, you know, on Facebook in the community. Like I've had a couple girls reach out to me, like, how did you do this? How did you do that? I'm an open book, you know, like I think most people are.
Yeah.
Most people are super happy to give you advice on a place. You know, some people are like, oh, how did you get a teaching job? I'm like, I just messaged them.
Yeah.
Just message them, you know. If, you know, now that I'm here, I'll message them too.
Yeah.
But I think you gotta do it. And it's, you know, there's a couple of things, you know, I didn't know how to drive a motorcycle here. And then the quads were too expensive. And then it was, you know, all the things. I remember learning how to drive the motorcycle, crying because I was so scared, you know, and like a month later when I was good at it, you know, driving down a jungle road, rain in my hair, like, who am I?
Yeah.
I think that's, you ultimately just have to jump, and there's going to be things that happen and times where, you know, it feels scary for work, it feels scary for money, house, all the things. But I think that those things are scarier to me than like sitting in a life that I'm not fully happy in.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know, or like, you know, of course we can't do everything maybe instantaneously, but like sitting in that life for years and years and years.
Yeah.
So yeah, time flies. Like make the intention. Maybe it's a year from now, you know, maybe it's 2 years from now, but if you know that's where you're going, it's very easy to point the boat in that direction.
Definitely. And find like a step by step, like,
and find a step by step. You don't have to rush anything. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be to where it feels so scary to your nervous system, but like ultimately there's going to be some scary things. It's been, you know, like I still have to work remote on some things, and you know, some days the power goes out and I'm like running to get to the meeting, and I'm you know, and there's been some months where I'm like, actually I just can't make it today. There's no power, there's no road, there's this, you know. I've had to, you know, shower with bottled water, and you know, like it's okay. A lot of, you know, like I'd say something that just drives me crazy here is like the constant issue with vehicles. It's not like a place that is nice to your older quad or older car or older moto, and things are breaking, and then you're like, well, how do I get it there? And then it's like everything is a bit more of a process here.
Practically a bit.
It's, you know, takes always like a little bit longer, but I think, I don't know, that's it's okay with me because I can walk barefoot to the beach and I can have my dogs and I can live in the jungle and
yeah, you can eat the fresh fruits and see the sunsets and everything else.
The pace of life here and the quality of life here is so nurturing for my soul, and I'm willing to deal with the small inconveniences when it feels big in the moment, but really these are not large problems.
Definitely. And in general, like, I think that what from my time, or from when I'm living in the jungle, I find that I learn a lot from nature, like in like how the water moves or how the seasons come and go with like and what would you say are like your biggest like nature, Mother Earth insights from being for so long time in the jungle?
I'd say she's just like so healing. Like if you sit quiet long enough, like it is so healing. Just like the smell of the mist, the way like the crickets all of a sudden will just like sing in this crazy vibration, and it's also like a place to be respected, like this is something that like we are a part of. We're not separate. We're growing from it, growing beside it, like really enmeshed. And I think a lot of, when you live in a city for so long, or you are someplace where you're not like really enmeshed in it, like you don't realize this is you and you are it. Like you're super connected. It's not this this thing that's separate, like we build these houses to live inside, away from nature, and like make these barriers between us, but like really we're very much a part of it.
As the leaf on the tree.
Like we're I love the idea of like nature seasons, like you just said, of we're always feeling like we have to be so productive and moving and going, but like nature dies to grow back even more beautiful. The tree is not going to grow its fruit if it doesn't have all these decaying leaves feeding the roots. So that's like a huge teaching for me of like, it's okay to slow down. It's okay to feel dark. It's okay to let yourself die a little bit. We all go through so many different things in life, and heartbreaks and things happening with family and jobs, and like we punish ourselves a bit, or I have in the past, when those moments are happening. And that right there is like, thank gosh that's happening. Like otherwise I'm not going to grow into this like beautiful something if I don't have this like dark space.
Definitely. I resonate a lot. And what I find as well, like when you spend the rainy season in the jungle, the amount of it can get quite dark in terms of you're not seeing the sun, the rain is really pouring, it's hard to like plan anything, hard to even go out some days. Life isn't always that easy, and the amount of, I think in one way life expands in proportion to how much darkness you can sit with and still
for sure.
And I think that's been one of the biggest teachings for me, from being in those murky, rainy like periods where it's a bit like the blinds have gone down, and in some way something happens within you that's very alchemizing.
It is. The rainy season here I find to be of a particular magic. Like you have those like super moments where you're like, wow, it's so dark, I've been in my house for days. And then some days you're like, I'm going out, and you suit on with like all the rainy things, and you're just driving, and like it is the most amount of water I've ever seen. It's just like coming down so hard, and you're clomping through the mud, and we show up to have coffee with our friends, and we're all just like in these garbage bag outfits, and I'm like, this is so fun, actually. Like you're just like, it's so cleansing, rain, it's filled with all the ions and all the things, and you're just like fully in it.
Definitely.
I quite love the rainy season here.
Yeah, those really intense showers, they also humble you a bit. You're like,
They do.
Yes, we're just a small little part of this very grand, powerful nature.
Yeah. We're so tiny. A couple of rainy seasons ago, like huge trees fell on my house. They all I'm right next to a river, and it got too soft for the roots to hold, and they all fell, took out the whole back of my house. All the power was out, and I'm just like sitting in a half crushed house in the dark. And I was like, what is happening?
Wow. That's yeah.
It was an intense one. I lived in the living room for a few months.
No, but it's cool to see the power of nature. I guess also when you connect a lot with the water, see the actual power behind it, and also the intelligence that orchestrates everything and makes everything flow and constantly change, evolve, and die, and
fully the intelligence. I love that.
Is there anything else that you have like going on that you're excited about upcoming, I don't know, 6 months?
I have some intentions to go to Europe maybe in the fall. And kind of I've been feeling called to like the landscapes of maybe like Spain or something like that. So starting to kind of like build my life to where I have some more time there and then some more time here to kind of like, I don't know, expand into a new audience, something else. So
that sounds really exciting.
So that's kind of just a small seed I've planted, but
but that could be really cool. I think as well, like retreats, photography, there are those reality.
Yeah, the retreats. We'll see how this one goes, but I hope to do, several more in the future, and it be something that's kind of like an ever-moving energy.
Definitely. It sounds so nice, and we'll put some details about that as well in the under the video, and the people who are listening that feel the cool. Check it out, and maybe join. That could be really
nice. It would be amazing if you feel called. Please join us. It's going to be super fun and amazing, and I'm super open. Like, also, I know it's a business, but like I've reached out to a lot of people. Like, if money feels like an issue, let me know. I'm more after creating a community than like something like that. So like, if someone wants to come, maybe we can offer some scholarships, something like that.
Payment plans, maybe.
We have payment plans already, but
awesome.
But I really just, I don't know. I need it for my soul of like deepening that community of women.
And I think that's also something that might be a bit overlooked. People talk about community and like building stuff online, maybe, but actually coming together in the physical world, that's something different. Like actually sitting in a circle, together, or like creating like a little container. That is something very different, and also something that I think we miss out on a bit. Like when I go to yoga, I do it because I want to sit in a room with other people practicing, and we kind of elevate each other and encourage each other, and I'm inspired to be like an old lady there that's like killing it, and I'm like, wow, I aspire to be like her when I'm older, I think together is something very potent, and something that the alchemy and the energy and the tradition that can be spread when you do that, you can't really get it in the same way digitally.
No, there's a real magic when women gather. And it is just as simple as that. Like when a group of women come together, it will always be magical. The table is always set in like a dreamy way. Everyone is always, preparing and helping with the food. It's just like women are magic. They are.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful when you can kind of bring that out of each other as well.
We do. We just like when women are connected and together, like we're all just like supporting and lifting. Like you feel, in the moments of like when I've been, in really dark places, it's women who held me.
Yeah.
It's like my female friends who bring
Yeah.
me back into the light. Like, it
That's
really is.
true. And I think that's
Like,
well, like the feminine, the qualities of the feminine energy are very nourishing, nurturing, and very holding and
yeah,
motherly, I guess.
yeah, for
Me.
sure.
Well, I think we're approaching an hour here, so
Amazing. Wow, it flew by. That's
no,
crazy.
I know time.
It
No,
feels like I've been talking to you for 5 minutes.
yeah, it's crazy. I would love to have you on again in the future, and maybe after you've had some of the retreats and see what's going on,
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
photography journey and how that evolves, and the community and all the creations that you're birthing into the world. But I'm curious if there's anything else you would like to share, or something you would like to a message, or something that you feel like, well, I want to pass this on.
Okay. If I had a message for anyone, I would say if there's something that you want to create, you want to do, just like do it. Sit down in front of your journal, sit down in front of your easel, pick up your camera. You know, even if it's just like self-portraits with your iPhone, you know, like things like that, allow yourself the freedom to express, allow yourself the freedom to create, and just release those judgments. Like, give yourself one moment of not needing it to be something, not needing it to make money, not needing it to show, you know, anything. Just like, let it be the purest form of like whatever your soul wants to do. And I think a lot of us all have that like little itching, like, oh, maybe I want to write a song, I want to paint a picture, I want to go to a pottery class. Like, allow yourself to just do that and make the time for it, you know. That would be just start today. That's all.
I love that, and I think that that's a beautiful way to end this. I think that one of the most important, or we're created to create, like we are very
we are created to
sometimes
create.
we limit it into roles or professions, but all of us are, we create our own world, our life, we create every day. Women, we procreate. It's like our natural way.
Yeah, it is embedded into our very DNA to be creators.
Definitely.
Yes.
And it's such a beautiful thing. It's a privilege as well as a human to also express and live in a day where there is artistic freedom and media channels and technologies and all this stuff. Like, as we talked about the camera, there are many ways that we can express in this world.
Yeah, humans are really just magical. It's like we can think of an idea and then there's a building built.
Yeah.
We can, you know, like we are these like magicians who, you know, have a thing and then we formulate it, we bring it to life, you know. So just any of those little things that are calling your soul, whatever it may be, it doesn't need to be perfect this first time around. Just give yourself that hour, that 10 minutes, whatever feels good for you, and just speak.
Go for it. Yeah. Oh, that's such a beautiful ending. I love that message. Thank you so much for sharing it. And also,
thank you for having me. This was so fun. Wow.
Yes, I agree. It feels like we've just chatted for a few minutes, but yeah, apparently it's been almost an hour. But you're back in the future, and I also look forward to seeing you in person soon, either in Europe or back in Costa Rica.
Yes, for sure. Well, maybe I get you down here for our week.
Exactly. I'm tempted.
We could do a podcast with all the girls.
Exactly. A live vibes.
Yes, fun.
Yeah. No, but it's been really nice to have you on, Malin. Really, thank you for taking the time, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I just look forward to following everything that you create and put out to the world from here. It's amazing to see you share.
Oh, thank you so much for the space. It was beautiful to talk to you too, and I am super excited to connect in the future.
Yay! Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Ciao, baby. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Ciao.